Hello there, YouTube. Well, to not put too fine a point on it, I'm not wearing a top at the moment. This will be explained in a moment. Don't worry, it's not going to be a big issue, but it is important to the point of the video. So, I've been struggling to get videos out, but I'm going to try and record a few and try and schedule them and get them out. I've got a couple more scheduled to go out soon, so hopefully I can get some out relatively quickly. But I wanted to kind of push this main channel into general vlogs, current affairs, talking about world events, and talking about just myself, my life. So, there are a few things that I do want to cover. I'm going to talk about current politics in Britain, because there's been a few things that are coming out. I'm going to talk about what's happening in Israel, because obviously that needs to be addressed at some point. I'm going to talk about things like the so-called culture war, which I know there's a lot of discussion on that on the internet, and it gets very, very heated. But that needs to be brought up. And I'm also going to discuss what it's like for me living as a disabled man in the current day, because people don't understand what it's like to be disabled. So I'm going to explain a few of those things. So this is going to be an everything vlog channel. That's the idea behind this channel. And this is the first one of those. Because, as you'll know from the title, this is both about body positivity and the body positivity movement, and the standards that people expect others to reach. So that's what I'm talking about in this video. I'm going to discuss various other things in other videos. Now, I want to bring this up as my first video for this new direction for the channel, because it's personal. It's very personal. I am very overweight, and have been for more than a decade. I started gaining weight quite substantially in my mid-20s. I was okay in my early 20s. Mid-20s I started gaining weight. When my disability really hit around 26, I piled on weight, and I've not been able to get rid of it since. So it's been about 12 years now, and I have just been constantly overweight to morbidly obese the entire time. Now, the body positivity movement tries to push this idea that we can be beautiful and healthy at every size. This is bullshit. It's absolute bollocks. I am not necessarily bad looking. I mean, I think I've got a face kind of like a potato, to be honest. It's kind of bland and nothing all that special. But I've been told that by other people that I'm somewhat conventionally attractive. When my hair is actually washed, which it's not today, which is why it looks all scraggy and horrible, when it's washed and doesn't look horrible and greasy, my hair looks pretty good actually, and I regularly get complimented on my hair. If I groom the beard and brush out the beard looks good as well. And I can pull off kind of like, because I'm a big guy, I'm 6'6", so I can kind of pull off like the big Viking guy, like that kind of look. And there are plenty of women out there who find that very attractive. So, I'm not wanting for attention in that regard. I don't expect to ever be, the top of people's wish list, as it were. I don't have any delusions that I'm a 9 out of 10 kind of guy. But I believe that I can be, if I try, quite attractive. But I don't try. That's a problem. Now, I don't try for a few reasons, and these are going to come up in other videos. The problems with gender dynamics, dating in the modern day, the constant parasocial relationships on the internet, and things that have warped our perceptions of gender dynamics, relationships, romance. They have been disastrously treated by humanity in general over the last 50 years, I'd say. And it has altered humanity's trajectory in such a way that I think it's going to have some really bad repercussions. But why am I topless for this? Well, I want to show off a couple of things. First of all, I want to show I want to show an idea as to what my body, to an extent, looks like, and show off a couple of medical issues that I think I can display on camera. So forgive that there are a lot of marks and scars and general things all over my body. This is something that just comes with the territory with my kind of condition. I always seem to cut myself or bruise myself, and I'm constantly covered in blemishes and scars. Some of them are quite pale, so you can't really tell. But if you look close, I have constant scars everywhere. Like, let's see if I can get this arm. Can we see scars everywhere? This isn't self-harm, by the way. This is just that my body just regularly is broken, and my skin tears, and I get sores and welts. If I get an insect bite, it'll grow and it'll kind of like deform the flesh around it. Like, I can't have even the slightest wound. Like, if I scratch myself, it'll burst and scar, and like my skin just doesn't heal properly. It's the same with all the tissues in my body. It's why surgery is so incredibly dangerous for me. But I've had other issues as well. Like, I've had a lot of medical problems, and one that I wanted to discuss here is one that a lot of people don't talk about. It's called Gynacamastia, and it's where for various different hormonal issues and for various genetic issues, the male body will start growing breast tissue. Now, I had gynecomastia when I was a teenager. Problem is, when a guy grows breast tissue, like, all guys have a tiny amount of breast tissue, but when a guy grows breast tissue, it doesn't grow into a breast, because we don't have the biology for that. Not really. What it does is it just tends to grow in any direction it can. Now, in some cases it'll grow into vaguely misshapen breasts, which can fade away if you have certain medical treatments, certain tablets or injections or whatever. It can fade away, and by the end of puberty it's gone. It's unfortunate for the poor guys who have got it, because, as it's often referred to as bitch tits, which is quite cruel. It's something that happens to about 20% of guys. It's shockingly common. But it's to a lesser degree for most guys. It just gives you a little bit of like a puffy nipple and a bit of flesh underneath that fades away as puberty goes. In some occasions, like with me, the breast tissue grows in any bloody direction it chooses, and mine chose inwards. Yeah, instead of growing out and, giving me any visible breast, it grew inwards and started like macheting its way through my musculature. Which means that I'm going to try and show this off now, so I apologise now if you have an aversion to the male nipple. Like I say, I'm overweight, so. But you can tell where, this side's actually really very, very obvious. You can tell where the tissue, like if I was carrying weight here, this would be larger. But what you can see is where the flesh just dips in. I can touch rib here. Like, I can touch a rib here, because what would be pectoral muscle ends and then dips right down here. Like, I'm not sure if you can see where it rolls in. And, like, I have no real pectoral muscle there. Like, they had to cut a huge piece of pectoral muscle out from underneath this nipple, go right under the arm. There's no muscle from the underarm all the way out here. Here they had to do the same thing, and they had to cut out, you can feel where the edge of the muscle is. Pectoral muscle there, none here. You can actually see the finger dip in to where the cavity is. There's pectoral muscle here, now there isn't. That's where you can see the gap where I can push the skin in there, but I can't here. And it's quite noticeable, I think. This is a big problem for me, because this happened when I was 17. So I've had no real pectoral muscles since I was 17. I can't ever build up my chest. I have very little upper body strength for this reason. I can't really lift or do anything that would require the strength in your chest. Building up my chest would be damn near impossible. I lack the musculature. Most people have, a slab of, pectoral muscle. I have like a bit of pectoral muscle around the edge and a very, very skinny bit with like a hole in the middle where they had to cut so much of it away. So that's the kind of thing that I have to put up with. Now, I bring this up because I think that these are two examples of two very, very different issues. Body positivity for being overweight and body acceptance for what is a medical condition that I had no control over that hit during puberty that resulted in a surgery that left me, without putting too fine a point on it, disfigured. Because that's what it did. It disfigured a part of my body. I will never have, like, hard pecs. I'm never going to have that kind of musculature. Even if I lost the weight and I built my body up, if anything, it would be more obvious. It would be more defined. And you'd be able to see very clear missing pieces out of the musculature. Now, for the weight, I feel a sense of shame. Not as much as perhaps people think I should, because I do have an excuse. My condition has meant that my physical situation has changed. I can't run and exercise. I can't play sports. I can barely walk, to be honest. What would be considered walking distance for most would be the equivalent of a hard run for me. The equivalent amount of energy. It is difficult for me to actually do any reasonable amount of exercise. Whereas the second issue, that's something I can't control. So I'm allowed to be upset and offended when people judge me for it, because it's not something that's in my control. Whereas if people judge me for my weight, I can choose how much I eat. I can try to exercise. I could swim, though admittedly, swimming is not an easy thing to do when your local government closes the swimming pools during COVID, steals all the COVID relief money, and then never reopens them. Thanks for that, Labour. Yeah. People are always ragging on the Conservatives, yet it was Labour that stole all the money in this constituency, and they were arrested for it. So, yeah, the local politics section there for you. But anyway, I could do exercises, I could watch what I eat. It would be a lot of work, and it is a lot of work. It's why I haven't done it, because it's a lot of work, it's difficult, and let's face it, I'm a food addict. I have been for years. Of course I am. I have chronic fatigue, chronic pain, I'm stuck in the house all the time, and I enjoy food, so food became a comfort for me. So, I eat food because I enjoy it, and that makes me gain weight. And it's a vicious cycle, because that makes everything worse. So yeah, my weight isn't all down to just bad decisions. There are extenuating circumstances. There are for most people who are overweight. Most people who are overweight are struggling with a food addiction, struggling with an eating disorder of some kind, have some kind of medical issue. They may have a glandular issue, or they may have a genetic disorder that causes their metabolism to slow. And because of that, they find it very easy to gain weight and very hard to shift it. And because of that, the effort they have to put in feels like it's more than others. They feel rejected by society, and then they gain even more weight. And yeah, it's a vicious cycle. There is a reason that so many people are overweight and cannot shed the weight, and it's not just through bone idle laziness. But body positivity has to stop. The body positivity movement is killing people. It's killing people to a degree that is frankly absurd now. Like, the amount of influencers, like there's been multiple mainstream influencers just on YouTube alone who were really overweight, really rapidly gaining weight, doing mukbang videos, things like that, where they would eat on camera, who have died because of their weight. I don't want to be amongst them. I would like to lose the weight. I am quite overweight, though. I look at myself, and I don't know if it's just that I see my own body and I'm aware of how big I am, but I can see how big I am, but I don't think that I'm as fat as some of the big guys that I've seen on YouTube. Like, I'm fairly sure I'm smaller than, what's his name? Avocado or something like that. Something like that. I'm nowhere near as big as Boogie was at his biggest. I'm still way, way too fat. And this is not a good thing. This is why I need to address my weight. It's why I wanted to do this, while showing off the thing that people are afraid to show off. This is not body positivity in the way that it is currently portrayed. Because the way it's currently portrayed, everyone will be saying, this is healthy and this is beautiful. It's not. It's not. It's disgusting and disturbing and extremely unhealthy, and it will kill me. This is not a good thing. I do not expect anyone to find this sexually appealing, which is why I don't really push for sexual encounters, because I wouldn't find my body attractive, so I wouldn't expect anyone else to. I don't have any semblance of physical fitness. I'm not pleasing to look at. The naked human body can be extremely pleasant to look at, and just a slight variation can make it revolting. There's a very quick turn from beautiful, 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 gross. Like, you fall off a cliff fast. And the change needs to be quite subtle. Like, I've got quite a long way to go before I hit the point where my body would be acceptable. I could lose 50 pounds and I would still not look attractive, body-wise. I'm going to need to lose around 80 pounds before my body's in a position where I can reasonably go, okay, now it's starting to look okay, because I'm over 300 pound. I'm around 320 pound. So I need to be at least under 250. Remember, by the way, I know for people who think 250 pounds, and I'm using pounds because the vast majority of people watching this are going to be American, and in Britain we often use pounds and stone anyway, so it works here as well. For those who are wondering, it's 2.2 pound per kilogram, so 220 pounds is 100 kilograms. 440 pounds would be 200 kilograms. There you go. So at 320 pounds, that would be 100 pounds over. So 88 would be 40. So we're looking at 140 plus another 12, which is, well, another 6, about 145 kilograms. About that. Is 320 pounds, which is where I am. Just doing quick maths in my head. I used to be able to do it so much faster. I've really let this atrophy. Although I suppose we all have, because we've all got calculators in our pockets now, haven't we? But yeah, about 145 pounds. 145 kilograms, somewhere in that region. I need to get down to, ideally, around the 110 kilogram mark minimum. Maybe to 100 kilograms would be good. If I could get to between 100 and 110 kilograms, I'd be quite happy with that, which is around 220 to 240 pounds. Remembering that I'm 6'6", so what sounds like a really heavy weight to most people is not a heavy weight to me. When you're 6'6", remember that going in one direction is multiplies by so much, but then because of the square cube law, the amount of surface area and the amount of volume goes up by a fair bit more. You double the size, you multiply the volume by 8. So me being a foot taller, it's significant more weight. But yeah, I need to do this. And this is what body positivity should be. It should be positive videos like this about wanting to improve one's body for your own health and for your own aesthetics. I don't find this attractive because I believe this shows a lack of discipline, a lack of health, and a lack of self-worth. I'm not showing myself enough self-love, basically. I'm not showing myself enough self-respect, because if I was, I'd be working to improve my body. That's what I should be doing. So that's what I want to do. And I think the body positivity movement would be much better if, instead of it telling fat people that they were already beautiful and already healthy, it instead told them that they can be beautiful and healthy if they work in this way, and encouraging them rather than shaming them. That would be the best way. Because it is difficult. It's extremely difficult. Like, the last thing I need is if I'm having a good week and I've lost a few pound and I'm keeping to a reasonable diet, the last thing I need is someone calling me a fat arse on the internet and telling me I look gross. That doesn't help. I already know this shit. I don't need someone else telling me that, especially when I'm already working to try and reduce my weight, and it's just not going well for me. The same with everyone else. But I do think the other part of body positivity, the part where we highlight disabilities and highlight actual things that people can't help and help them to feel better about that I think is something we could get behind. So yeah, I thought that would be something interesting to talk about. I want to get my thoughts out there and just put the perspective of someone who is both very overweight and very disabled on the internet for people to be able to try and relate to. So I hope this was an interesting video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, bye.